One of my favorite words is decentralized. Like it can't be built around one person's personality or resources, knowledge, or brand. Like if we're going to truly help people, it has to be the quality of space between each member of our community and take this relational approach to helping each other. So that's why we started with community. You know, a lot of people start with a course or a product or whatever. We wanted to start with people, would start with the relationships.
Things that you guys both embody very well, and Eric, you even touched on it, is purpose. Like it's not been about the money, it's been about the purpose and doing something that's actually meaningful. And while a lot of people say that, not many people actually live that. And my philosophy has always been, the byproduct of us living in our purpose and living in our level of fulfillment is hopefully you can make a shit ton of money. But that's not like the main driving force right there. And as you guys have now, I'm pretty sure, Eric, you're doing SaaS Bros full time. Darren, you're helping to, you're building it with him, but you're still doing your full time gig. It's like, what's now become the purpose of what you guys are really doing? Like I know you just, opened up your SaaS Bros community too. I think that was like 2 or 3 weeks ago. You got a whole bunch of people that are in this. Tell me, like, what is the purpose of all this that y'all are doing, and what is the community that you guys are building as well?
I think it means different things to the different people in our community, but I mean, my answer is I've always been a creator at heart. And so part of the journey for me is being able to internalize it first, process it, but then also share something that can help others. And so when I was making that transition from nonprofit, man, it was really hard. And there weren't a whole lot of people that understood. There weren't a whole lot of people that could speak authoritatively into my journey and like where I was in that moment, and help in a specific way. And so as I got into it, had success as an SDR, as an AE, very quickly, it was easy for us to just turn our attention to, man, there's so many people that resonate with this journey that are coming to us. And I know why they're coming to us, because they're not getting help anywhere else. And so, part of formalizing the brand was, man, let's make it easier for people through the context of community to make that transition from whatever industry they're in to tech sales and create a better life for themselves. And I didn't want it to be centralized. Like I just dropped that in our community this morning. One of my favorite words is decentralized. Like it can't be built around one person's personality or resources, knowledge, or brand. Like if we're going to truly help people, it has to be the quality of space between each member of our community and take this relational approach to helping each other. So that's why we started with community. A lot of people start with a course or a product or whatever. We wanted to start with people, would start with the relationships.
I'll add to that a little bit. For me, like I always had people pouring into me on my way up, right? So that people had like walked the walk before me and giving freely. They had receipts, right? Like they had testimonials. And early on, I didn't have that, right? Like I didn't feel like I was the person that could teach you how to go through social selling, how to backdoor into an opportunity, how to talk to RevOps, how to talk to deal desk, like all of the things that like were just new to me in sales. And I finally got to the point where I was like, all right, like I feel confident enough that I've ran this play enough to where I can help somebody that's a few steps behind me. And that's been really inspirational for me, is just to give back to that community and to give back to those folks like others did for myself. And I think one of the biggest like fulfilling pieces of like this week for me is like everybody but like one person that we asked to be on our board said yes, and they just had prior commitments that they couldn't do and supported us in like an extreme way outside of that. And then every single mentor that we asked said yes. And so like that's just a testament of like how like we've carried our name over the last 3 years. We've always said like we don't make enemies, right? And you also see like we haven't partnered with a ton of people, and because like we know who each other are and we know what our passion is inside of this, and so seeing this all come together is it's a year and a half's work all coming together in one centralized place, or decentralized, as Eric likes to say. But yeah, I mean it's just to help people, man, and we make some money along the way too.
And I think a lot of people, are struggling. A lot of people are burnt out. A lot of people are numb. A lot of people are starting to question again, like, damn, why am I doing all this sort of stuff again? And especially if the numbers next to their name on the scoreboard aren't quite where they want that to be, their level of self-worth can start to go down the drain a little bit. And I know that's really, part of the driver of the SaaS Bros community and just having each other's back. But, from your guys' perspective, when you are in tech yourselves or you're supporting people in being in tech to get into tech or just to be successful in tech, how do you bring in this idea of mental health, right? Because sales tactics and strategies for sure important. But if there's not that underlying foundation built upon mental, emotional, even spiritual health, your foundation just crumbles right there. So how do you guys approach the mental health game, especially in regards to the tech world?
I think, Alex, a lot of it, in our space, at least in the community that we're building, we have to lead by example. And I think part of that is just being very vulnerable and transparent about our own struggles and creating a space where we can talk about it. We'll encourage other people to share their journey because everybody's dealing with something, like I didn't know what mental health was until I had a panic attack. And like it became very real for me. Like it became part of my journey. And I was out of work for 6 months because of a clinical breakdown, and had a journey with medication and just trying to figure out this new reality with like anxiety. I had never experienced it for 30 years, and then like a light switch, it was there, it was on, and I had to deal with that, and that was really tough. Especially being an achiever, kind of a high capacity person that prided myself on just being able to push through anything, right? And keep a positive mindset. Like that's how I approached life. And then all of a sudden, like I'm having these panic attacks every day and I can't figure out like how to get my mind under control. Like that was real. That changes you, man. Like the empathy that you have now for other people who are experiencing the same thing, it's hard to produce if you haven't gone through it. So we bring that into every conversation, into every relationship, into every space that we enter into. Just that honesty, that openness, that vulnerability, that nobody is above it, and it's something that we all experience at some point.